Hey Colin, how's it going? It's great to be chatting. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure, my pleasure. Look, I really enjoyed the Jester. The first movie particularly, I always love a new Halloween themed movie,
Yeah.
and I particularly like them when they have the potential and eventually become franchises. So you're onto something with the Jester, that's for sure. It's a really striking character.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, the imbuing it with the Halloween atmosphere was definitely a goal of ours. And I always said it would be the most humbling thing if somebody folded any of these Jester things that have come out over the years into their like annual Halloween rotation. That would just be the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's something that I do, and I just love that there is a new character that I can really sort of latch onto. Can you tell us about the origins of the Jester itself? Like, what inspired the character to begin with?
I think if I'm being honest, the thing that inspired him the most was we just wanted to do something that was completely different from the other short films that we had done at the time.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, we always have guys in masks because there were just five of us, so it was an easy way to hide, how many of the same guy you're using all the time.
Yeah.
But the Jester was unlike the other like horror villains that we had in our short films because he was cool and he was well dressed and he was always like three steps ahead of the protagonist and loved what he did. And it was kind of our first time like trying to develop an enigmatic character in that way. All the other
Mm.
ones were, maniacs with baseball bats and stuff like that. This was like a guy, and everything else, all the nuances and details about him that now make him unique, were all just born out of circumstance. We didn't have like I'm picturing an orange suit, it wasn't anything like that. It was "Oh, this suit's on clearance. Let's get this." So, um, yeah, all of the "Oh, this top hat. Looking at this top hat. This one's even topper. Let's." And then it's right next to the magic wands. Now he's a magician. It was all stuff like that. So we like built the character as we were just like shopping at the spiritual Halloween.
That's incredible. You wouldn't know it because it's such an iconic look. Did you
Yeah.
when you first sort of saw it on screen for the first time? Like, did you think, man, we're onto something?
Yeah, I think so. I think when I was editing that first short film, it was the first time that we had made something where I was like, I know the guy who's in that suit, but now that I'm looking at it on screen, it just like I know me and the Jester have a different relationship than me and Mike, the guy who plays the Jester. It was yeah, like you said, it's definitely something where it's like, I like this guy, and I've never thought that before when any of our previous horror outings that we'd done.
Yeah, 100%. With the short films, if I can ask you, I mean, really, when you do a proof of concept, one film is enough, but you ended up doing three shorts. Was there a
Yeah.
reason for doing the three before stepping into a feature?
Yeah, that's a good question because we did the first Jester short, and we had put just as much love and care into that short as we had done all of our other previous shorts, but for some reason, that's the one that got, like, a ton of traction, and a year later, we were like, we've never done a sequel. That could be a fun challenge." Always with our shorts, no matter what they were, we wanted to present one new challenge to ourselves. We've never done a fight scene, we've never done, gore makeup, whatever, and, we've never done a sequel, so we're bringing back a character for the first time. What's that feel like? And then, the Jester became a curse because it didn't matter what we put out after that. It could have been something that we thought was really good and we were really proud of, and the comments were always, "Where's Jester Chapter 3? Where's the next Jester film?" And it's like, "Oh, what if we created a monster?" So, we made chapter 3 in an effort to say, let's wrap it up. Chapter 3 is it
And it
and no
comes
more
full circle.
Jester.
It comes full
Yeah.
circle. Yeah.
But that was the challenge. It was like, oh, we also wrote ourselves into a corner because we made them anthologies. They're this story has nothing to do with that story. So we can't just make a third random story and say, see, that's it. So
Yeah.
how do we make it feel like the others without breaking from the format, but also feel like it wraps it up? So that was its own challenge. And then we were like, aha, that's it, we're done. And joke's on us because here we are talking about the second Jester feature.
That's right. I mean, geez, like, and those short films are very sort of self-contained. They're very simplistic, which is what makes
Yeah.
them work, I think. Was there a real challenge in expanding that into a greater narrative and injecting other characters in there?
Oh, dude, 1,000%. Because we had like, you know, one-off conversations here and there. They were barely conversations where we would say, what if no, like the Jester was always intended for the short film format. He was supposed to feel like an urban legend or a creepypasta or something like that. That's just
Yeah.
like, what's this spooky thing that happened to this guy one time? So we never had an idea of how we could expand that into a feature-length film. And so when I got that call from the CEO of Epic Pictures, and he's like, "Yeah, I just, I figured you've been wanting to make a Jester feature for a while," and I was like, "Gulp, uh-huh." So, but we also knew that if there was anybody that was going to get us there to, the feature film arena, it was going to be the Jester. Unfortunately, that we had slacked for 6 years, hadn't thought of a single idea, and never attempted to write a feature film, so it was like, not only did we have to figure out what you'd said, expanding it to now a 90-minute
Hmm.
narrative, but how do you even write a feature? It was quite the learning curve.
Speaking of learning curves, I'm glad you said that because one thing I found that may have been to your advantage is those shorts have a really strong aesthetic. Like they feel like features, like in sense of how they look. You could imagine they're just leftover scenes, that are on the special features of a DVD of a feature.
Oh, awesome.
What was like other than what you just said, what was the major sort of learning curve going from a short to a feature? What was the biggest challenge other than the story itself, just maybe in a technical sense?
Yeah, I think, what you're talking about with the short films is so nice to hear because it was always just 5 of us. There was always 5 of us, and we never really spent more than, like, $500 maybe on each of those shorts. So to hear that it looks and feels so professional is, like, exactly, what you'd hope to hear from something like that. And we're all wearing so many hats when we make something like that because there's so few of us,
Mm,
and with something like this, it's difficult to relinquish responsibilities to others, because I don't have to rely on anybody else making the short films because I know where my strengths and weaknesses are, so I know what I can rely on myself to do.
hmm.
And now you have 30 people who are all looking at you and you're like, I gotta I gotta figure out how to get everybody all on the same page. And, that's definitely part of your job as a director is communicating your vision to everybody. And when it's 5 guys who you've known for half your life,
Mm,
making these shorts, it's like we all have the same vision, or we'd all at least trust each other enough. And with this, it's like they're all strangers, the reference points are all changed now, and it's just getting better at being efficient in your communication and trying to convey that to all the various department heads. It's really
yeah.
tough when you've never had to do that before.
100% sounds really daunting to me. Far out. Um, one of the carryover things that you mentioned there is there's Michael Sheffield plays the Jester and he's your co-writer as well. Was he always in mind to be the character in the features?
In the features, yeah, 1,000%.
Yeah.
When I got the offer to do the feature, I was very lucky that he was saying, "Yeah, and if you want to write it, you can, and if you want somebody else to write it, that's fine. And if you, oh, by the way, if you want the guy who played the Jester in the shorts to be in this one, that's fine too." And I was like, "Well, yeah, like there's nobody else to do it." And yeah, it's like I couldn't have done it without him.
Yeah, 100%. How do you write the character? Like, I imagine he acts certain things out when you're actually in the writing process just to help figure out nuances and mannerisms in each scene. Is that how it works?
We actually on this one, I don't remember if we did this as much on the first one, but on this one, since there's so much more Jester in this one, I actually wrote dialogue for him,
Yeah.
and that way, when Mike is showing up to set, he knows. well, this is what the Jester is supposed to be saying. This is what he wants to convey to whoever in the scene. So, we sometimes his actions are very explicitly written
Hmm.
in the script, and other times, even if they are explicitly written, on set, we'll be like, "Oh, it's not. Let's figure something else out."
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like, "Let's jack it up. Like, let's let's really exaggerate it." Or on this one, we were actually like, "Let's see what the Jester looks like when he's not trying to perform for somebody."
Hmm.
Let's see what he looks like when he's pissed off. And I thought that was really like an interesting new dimension to him.
For sure, you've really doubled down and you've upped the ante for part two. I think horror fans will be pleased to know that it's much more graphic. It's a lot grosser, which is great. Did that make it a lot more fun to
Yeah.
make?
No.
Was it harder
It
to make?
it made it so much harder. It actually, like, I don't know, but like it actually was supposed to be grosser in some elements, but the grosser, and any horror filmmaker will be able to tell you, the grosser things take a lot more time
Hmm.
on set, and you need multiples of wardrobe because they're going to get splattered with blood. You have to reset and clean up and all these things. And so there was written to be the same scenes were there, but they were just a little more graphic.
Hmm.
And on set, it just got to the point where we're like, we just can't be adding blood to this scene. Otherwise, we're not gonna have a scene. We're not
Yeah.
gonna have time to finish shooting it. But yeah, all the the practical SFX, um, it's like it's so stressful on set because a lot of these things, especially on a production of this super small scale, you only have one shot to
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
And it is the most like everything is tight and puckered up when you're waiting for the axe to swing down and the gag to deploy the way that it's supposed to. But when it does, it's the best. Like you feel this immediate release through everybody on set.
Yeah.
Everyone just goes, "Oh," and for one moment we're all friends and everything is fine, and then we move on to the next thing.
Man, we talk to most of the people we talk to on this show are very similar to you. Like they're in independent horror films, and they have the same anxieties when we ask them about that. The upping the
Yeah.
ante and making it grosser. And I think it's one of those things that a lot of fans misunderstand or don't even comprehend is that when they're on the Reddits or whatever and they're saying, "Oh, that movie could have been so much gorier." It's like, well, do you
Yeah.
comprehend what goes into making a film? And I think in this case, though, you've gone gorier enough to really satisfy the gorehounds. Like it's a great evolution, and you've opened up the mythology, which is great.
Yeah.
Did you have the mythology sort of in your head at any point making the first one, or was this completely, we're doing part two, we need to go further?
Hell no, we never had any mythology. That was what I always loved about the Jester in the shorts was, to me, the thing that made that first short film so special, spoilers for a 9-year-old short film, is at the very end, you see the Jester start to do the same thing to different Halloween patrons that are out,
Yes.
and there's a different result because of their response.
Hmm.
And that was like, it's perfect for a short film because it's like, oh, it's just enough to let me know that there's something going on in the Jester
Yeah.
we don't know, but he has his own like moral code or
Hmm.
something. We might not know what it is, but he has one, and it just
Yep.
makes him just a little bit more interesting. And the mystery was always what I thought made him so enigmatic. And then we get to the first feature, and we continue to not explain anything about him. And
Yep.
then everybody's like, "What the hell? What is he?" And I was like, "I don't know." So when when it came time for the sequel, I was like, "Okay, we can't do that again. We have to, we have to peel back the curtain a little bit
Yep.
and give people just enough information, a peek through the keyhole." And I actually, when I wa it's so s it sucked because everything we came up with was like, "Oh, it sounds like Pennywise. Oh, it sounds like Freddy. Oh, it sounds like whatever."
Yep.
And so, it was I actually I don't know, I was doing, like, Halloween research and found, and it was a real piece of folklore. It was called The Legend of Stingy Jack, and it's like the, origin story of the jack-o'-lantern.
Right.
And it was such a cool story about this like little trickster dickhead that tricked the devil, and I was like, that sounds like the Jester. He's a little dickhead.
Yeah.
So, just, like, being able to tie it to, like, real folklore,
Yep.
ge it just that feels appropriate to what the Jester is, which, he started as an urban legend, so tying him to folklore felt appropriate.
Definitely. And now that you've sort of stepped into that sort of zone, have you got more of your story mapped out in your head?
No, and the thing the thing that I like so much about this is that you hear the backstory spoilers, mild spoilers, I guess, but you hear the backstory from the Jester himself.
Hmm.
So if you're somebody like me who prefers to not know his backstory, it's like, well, the Jester's kind of a manipulator and a liar anyway, so maybe there's some unreliable narrator stuff happening, and maybe none of it's true.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. It's so tough to find the balance between how much information is enough to get to crack open people's imagination, but not so much that it ruins the mystique
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
the that aura of the character.
Yeah, I mean, all the great boogeymen in movie history start off simple, and their mythology just expands as you
Yeah,
go. Like, and you're on the right,
exactly.
you're on the right course for it. And just from a viewer's point of view, anyone that's watching or listening, he hasn't spoiled anything. Like, you haven't. There were no
Okay.
spoilers there. I think that's perfectly the perfect amount of
Yeah.
information to give people. Um, One thing I particularly liked in the third short film, which I'm going to apply to the features, is there's kids in number 3. All right, and I
Yeah.
love seeing kids in horror films, particularly Halloween horror films. And if Terrifier 3 taught us anything, it's that audiences love to see kids getting chopped up on screen. Do you plan a third film, and if so, will it have more kids?
Well, I can't speak too much on a third film right now, but I will say that uh the the it is I don't know, like you said, I don't know what it is, but when you see how your horror villain responds to children versus adults, I think it speaks. So I don't know, it's like really revealing about them.
Yep.
If you remember David Gordon Green's 2017 Halloween movie,
Mhm.
there's a moment in that which I find so fascinating, and it's the smallest moment. It's where it's after Michael beats a lady to death with a hammer,
Mhm.
and he's walking through her house, and you hear a baby crying in the crib, and you're like, "Oh no!" And then he looks down, sees the baby, and then just moves right on, and it's like, "Yes! Oh, because something's going on in here, but we don't know what it is, but something is. He's not just a bulldozer."
Mhm.
And yeah, so it's just something about kids that you could either be like Terrifier and it's like chop them up, blow them up, no matter who they are, or maybe the Jester responds to children more different than he responds to dickhead teenagers.
Yeah, yeah. I think when
I don't
when
know.
fans do have that reaction to kids, copying it in these horror films, it's more in a sense that they like not being able to trust the filmmaker. Like, they like being in the hands of a maniac. I think that's what it is. From my point of view, that's it's
Yeah,
always for me. It's like, I can't trust this guy. I like feeling insecure when I'm watching these movies, and I don't know where it's going to go. So, yeah, I mean,
yeah,
yeah, but you can go along what you were saying, and it's just as strong thematically. When you actually give some kind of basic humanity underneath all the evil. I don't know.
yeah. Humanity or rules,
Yeah,
whatever it is, but
yeah,
it just makes them more than one note. It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
different shades.
100%, 100%. Now, presumably, you are, and I'm pretty sure you are, a lot younger than us on this show. And if there's one thing that we despise, it's younger people that are swimming laps around us in the talent pool. You know what I mean?
Oh, you don't
um,
have anything to worry about.
so I'm just wondering, like, just to make us feel, ancient here, what are some of the movies from your childhood that inspired you to become a filmmaker? Because when I say make us feel ancient, because I know you probably say stuff that we were old enough to drive ourselves to the bloody cinema and watch, though.
Yeah. Well, I don't know because the movies that really shaped me um as a person, not
Mm,
not necessarily as a filmmaker, but it's Spielberg.
yeah,
It's
of course
Back
it
to
is.
the Future, Indiana Jones, but the big one for me, I think, when I was a kid was Jurassic Park. It came
Mm-hmm.
out the same year that I was born, so I feel like I'm related to it in some way. But
Yep, yep.
it was one of my first words was dino because I would hold the VHS tape up to my parents and they'd have to put it in every day. And what we also had was a VHS of the making of Jurassic Park, which I don't know if you've seen,
Yeah.
but it's hosted by James Earl Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my first experience into seeing how these things that I love so much were made. And, you know, it broke me open and suddenly I loved them so much more. And seeing these guys who were at the top of their game in that
Yep.
movie
Yep.
do all these things, it was like the closest thing I've ever seen to real life magic, and I've never been able to uh separate from that love and that passion ever since. I owe whatever I have in terms of a filmmaking career right now, I owe to Jurassic Park.
That's awesome. I mean, we ask that question to nearly everybody we chat to, and Spielberg is always on the list, and Jurassic
Yeah.
Park is regularly, the answer. And it does show you how old we are. Like the same experience you had with that behind the scenes film I had with Michael Jackson's Thriller, which is
Really?
mid-80s. Yeah, absolutely. So that's the
That's
film
awesome.
that it educated me on how things work behind. And then there's one called Document of the Dead about Romero's work,
Yeah.
and that sort of instilled with me a passion for this stuff. So that's a great answer.
Really
That's a
cool
great
choices,
answer.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right, cool, man. Well, thank you so much for the chat. Really appreciate it. I'm excited about this franchise, and I'm sure a lot of people that are listening or watching haven't jumped into it yet. So this is definitely the perfect tantalizer for them. And I do
Yeah.
hope there's a third one. I suspect there is. So congrats all around, and good luck.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and ghouls, I'm your host, DJ Jack, and I'll be your guide through the spine-tingling lineup for you tonight.
Why do you look like that?
We're going trick-or-treating.
Don't you think you're getting a little bit old?
Why don't you just watch some scary movies or something, okay?
You're the quiet girl who always sat by herself.
Max.
Oh, I know this.
Don't you see? You tricked me. It is you who must perform the tricks to the observer.
You can't do this without me.